I gotta wait till it comes live on. You got that lag, you know. Come on. There it is. Pause that. Okay. Hello, everyone. We are live again with Smaug's Log. Today, I got something a little bit different. Today, I got the boys in here with me. You got Mick, you got Joe, you got Gary. Tiny Admiral Scale Modeling, Fighting Joe's Hobby Bench, and Mayhem Models. These three brothers are also moderators on the Cyber Syndicate and Red Dragon Model Works, but they also have their own Facebook pages. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So without further ado, there's the boys. You got what's happening, gentlemen?
Evening.
How you guys doing,
Sure.
man? How's we were just taking the piss out of each other earlier. Especially me. These guys like Joe loves to fuck with me. So
it's so easy to target.
What's that?
You're such an easy target.
Yeah, I know. So
as moderators, it's our job to keep you down to earth.
We have so hey, Nick, other than the new kitty that you got, what have you been up to?
Oh, well, I did a lot of arguing with the Postal Service. The last package that I had delivered was the all the upgrade stuff for my 1 to 200 scale Titanic. And, well, between COVID-19 making the Postal Service a little wonky because everybody's ordering stuff online now, on top of that, there was it turned out that there was a typo in the address, and it had been sent to 14 King Street instead of 114. So yeah, I had a good week-long argument with them just to get my package. But everything's in now, so I can start work, and I've started the setup for doing the alterations I need to do on it.
Cool.
Because there is a lot of photo etch going into this thing.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute, man, because that's pretty interesting what you're doing there. You know, I think people that build ships should really take a look at that. You know, and I know you have a Facebook page, and we'll talk about that also because you're posting your updates on your Facebook page. Am I correct?
Yeah. My studio page has been pretty quiet for the past bunch of months, but a lot of that is that I've had not much going on as far as ships being built, and been homeschooling the kid, you know, the other stuff that you got to do in these situations.
I hear you.
And it's just, I'm just now fighting uphill to get the momentum going again, because I kind of fell into that absolute no mojo zone, you know.
Yeah, it happens. We got Mike, NY3D Creations. He says, "Hi guys." There's Brian from
Mike.
Suncoast Hobbyist. Jeebus is blessing the vlog. He crosses both birds. And then Mike saying, "Who is that guy in the lower right?" I think he might be talking about you there, Joe.
No. He couldn't possibly be talking about me.
Not you?
No, it can't be me.
Say, since we brought it up, Joe, how
Yes,
you doing, brother? What have you been working on these past during this coronavirus nonsense? You know?
Yeah, same thing I've been working on for the last year and a half. Playing with this 24 scale Spitfire.
And yeah, but you went all out on that. You cut that thing up and redid the whole interior and the wings and the motor and or the engine and all that stuff, huh?
Yep, I've got from firewall to nose is done, I think. Then I started in on the space before the cockpit, the seating cockpit, where the fuel cells are and some of the hydraulics are. Got all the hydraulics laid out, and then I started a little bit with some of the pneumatic lines and decided I better not do that right now. I better wait and do those after I get the electrical lines run.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least the facsimile of what they're going to be.
Right.
So that's about where I'm at. Going slow. Got the tanks, fuel cells. They're done and they're plumbed, and yeah.
Cool. And then last but not least, Brother Gary there. What's going on, mate?
Evening, guys.
So what you been up to, bro, lately?
Mainly working on my PK model, PK Battle of the Nine Skies White Tiger. Doing a little bit of 3D printing off some Meg. I'm a patron of his, so I've printed off a Hulk from the sun, and he's been dribbling on about me painting that. But I haven't.
Now, is that all? That's in different pieces. Am I correct? You have to glue them on there or whatever when you print them up. You don't print them up. For those that don't know, you don't print it up all at one time.
No. I mean this.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So like that was one piece. He's holding an anchor that was in 3 pieces in itself. The head's a separate part. The legs were separate. So it all fits on a bed that's like that sort of size. So you've only got so much room to play with.
Right. And that's your printer off to your. That would be your left.
Yeah, to my left. That's me. The Elegoo Mars, which Hobby Mike recommended in one of your vlogs. So I took a look.
How do you like it?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. I'm not in the same league as Mike, but it's a great little addition. I've got a backlog of models now. Normally, I ain't got a backlog.
Yeah,
7 or 8 to do.
Right. So there, me, I'm doing I just finished a bunch of figures. A bunch of NY3D figures. I got a couple other resin ones in front of me here. Been working on this. I started, and I'm gonna get shit. We started another piece of armor, Joe. But this one's not a cut-up one because these guys give me shit all the time about that King Tiger. We'll get into that too. I'm sure.
I was waiting to pounce that one.
It's I'm doing the Tamiya M2 Bradley, the IFV. The box is down there. But yeah, I mean, it's a commission build, but it's an older one, so I had to fill in all the, where the battery, the little switch, and all that. And there's a lot of in here, it had Tamiya written all the way across this thing, so I had to scrape that off because you're going to see that floor right there. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on just the bottom part here, but it's okay. It's a nice little build. It's not something that I would do all the time. I don't know how armor guys can do it all the time, but yeah, it's a nice little build. It's good. I've got to get back into building shit instead of painting. So, we got Mike. He says, "Hi guys, I have just 14 questions for the group at Live Dave. Shoot, brother, shoot." This is for you, Joe. This is Brian. Can you read that?
Yeah, I see it. I'm not going to acknowledge it right now, but I do see it.
He says, I call bullshit. He's going to tear it apart at least one more time. At least one? No. More than that. So
next time I'll just do it on camera.
Yeah. If you guys got any questions for these brothers, man, Gary's he's a good painter. He doesn't think he is, but he's a goddamn good painter. You got Joe, who's phenomenal at tearing these things apart and redoing them and putting all the struts and all that, firewalls and interior and engine work in there. And then you got Mick up there, man. He does some really good ships. Bismarck he did was beautiful. Although there was one ship, Vinny, may he rest in peace. You guys, what was that ship that he did? And you bought one, Mick?
Oh, the Liberty ship. Trumpeters 1 to 350 scale. Jeremiah O'Brien.
Did you finish that?
Yeah, I did.
Which one is the one that you said I'm not doing this no more? It's a piece of shit.
Oh, that was a Lindbergh kit that the wife and kid got me. And I just, yeah, no. It's sitting over in my I may get around to it someday if I'm desperately bored pile.
I'm not the only one that has one of those.
What was that, Gary?
I said I'm not the only one that has one of those piles. Then.
Nah. See, that's Limburkin is something that Joe would take and just chop it up for parts, man. So
I've got a few.
You got a few, huh? Well, I see a few behind you there. Now, Mick, the ship you're building right now, what is it?
1-200 scale Titanic by Trumpeter with the limited edition Pontos detail set and the deck by Scale decks.
That's a big fucking ship, man. I saw it the other day.
It is. It's bigger than my 1-200 Bismarck by quite a bit.
And you ended up building that extension.
Yeah, you went in there and you started drilling out all the portholes on it. How many portholes did you have to drill out?
Over 1,000.
And did that come with a lighting kit?
It did, but I'm not going to use it.
Why not?
Well, because the LEDs for that light up the funnels and in a few other spots just sort of sit on the deck. And the real ship didn't have giant glass balls that lit up like that, you know.
These guys are taking the piss out of us here, man. Here's Mike. Question 2: where's the link? Well, let's go to question 1. What is the meaning of life?
Yeah.
Grasshopper. Josh says
whiskey.
How about it? Finish the build. Are you talking to me? Finish the build?
He's talking to Joe. Oh,
I thought that because that's my middle name. Finish the bill. Gil didn't finish the bill. Whatever. That's my middle name, man. Hey, Brian. What color is the sky in Gil's world?
I don't know. I never see it.
These guys. This man, how we were messing with you with your beard there, Mick. Watching Mick is great. With the delay. Mick, please say, want to fight me? Oh shit! So yeah.
So, I fight you now.
So we were just guys. I wanted to introduce you guys. Most of you guys know who these guys are. Some of you guys that watch my channel don't know who they are. These guys are the moderators on Red Dragon Model Works and Styrene Syndicate. They help me a lot, believe me. Joe, I've known Joe 7 years. Joe?
7 years.
Yeah. Mick, we're going on what? 4 years?
Oh, geez, I've been a moderator for you for almost that long now.
Yeah. And then
I'd
Gary.
say, about 5, maybe 5.5 years.
And then Gary, you got is what 3 years, Gary, right around there? Yeah, 3 years.
3 years.
Now, Gary, that little tiger you're doing there. Can you show that? Can I see that? Show that the face on that thing. Now that's resin. That's not a printed piece. That's a casted piece, right?
Yeah, that's a cast by PK King. My focus is crap because it just hates me. Look. Focus.
Look at that. There it is. Right there. Yeah. Wow, look at the detail on that thing. You did an awesome job on those teeth, man. They look like teeth, like real teeth.
It did. I fell across it. I won't pretend that I started out knowing what I was doing, but I ended up in the right place. It's a labour of love, that man. I couldn't believe that it ended up as well as it did. I used con arts, com arts for the first time because you and Stan recommended them, and all of that is pretty much com art, apart from the teeth I used game workshops, but came out really fucking well. I was well impressed.
That thing's going to be huge, man, because I saw the base is what, about 13, 14 inches high?
Yeah, I mean, ignore the colours because it's just laced, but that's the base. And as you can see, my arm just about comes over the top of it.
Wow, look at that. Look at the size of that thing. Yeah.
And then the tiger itself, stands from here all the way up, and his back leg's up here. So the tiger himself sits there, and then there's a little girl that sits on his back, and another little girl that stands by his side. I say little girl.
Wow.
Young woman.
Now, we got a question. I'm looking at it on the YouTube page.
Is it Mike?
No, it's Michael. Michael, and he's asking the shipbuilder, Michael.
All right.
And he's asking, what was the drool made of?
The drool is made. This is also not my work. This is a recommendation from our fine patron Gil, and it's basically that UHU glue. It dries crystal clear, and just a toothpick. So just dipped it in the end, stuck it on the bottom bit, and then just dragged it up to the next tooth. But that was recommended by Gil, and it does work really fucking well.
That stuff works really well for like blood or drool, it's really good, really good. Mike says, I have a question for Gary. Can you see that, Gary?
Yeah. No, you can't. No, you can't see my rubbish shelf. Kiss my ass.
Kiss my ass. I ain't showing you nothing.
I've renamed it my elite shelf, and yes, some of your work is there, but only the best.
So now, Joe.
Yes.
This piece that you're doing now,
yes.
Is it in front of you?
Yeah, it's in pieces in front of me, but it's in front of me.
Is there any way you can pick a piece and show up to the camera?
Like I said, it is in pieces. Give me a second here. I'll change to the camera that's there.
Now, what plane is this again?
This is a 24 scale Spitfire Mark V. The engine, 75 to 80% of what's on the actual aircraft is on this.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
That is stunning.
How long did it take you to do that?
Actually, once I restarted, about 2 months.
Yeah, because you've restarted that about 3 or 4 times, did you?
I've restarted, 3 or 4 times, but this last one was a total restart. I took everything out. I sanded everything down. I stripped everything off the engine, everything out of the cockpit, everything, and started over again. This is the cockpit flooring, and you have to pardon my lights. I get a glare no matter what I do.
That's incredible, man.
But you see to the front here, those are landing gear shafts. That's where all the hydraulic fluid goes in and all that. The hydraulic lines all run through it, come back to here. This will be on the frame where the instrument panel is, and then up into the control.
That's right.
What you don't see is I don't have the rudder controls on there yet.
Uh-huh.
I don't have some of the pneumatic stuff that I've done on there yet, but that's coming. I want to get to a point where I can actually do it, where I don't have to worry about busting everything off again. Those are the fuel tanks. They sit in front of the cockpit.
Now, did you scratch build those or?
Yes.
Okay.
The only things that are not scratch build, I've got 3 bulkhead frames, and then on the engine here, there are 6 pieces. There are 2 for the sides, 2 for the covers, the oil tank here, and there was a nose piece here. So those are the only ones that are kit pieces on there. I do have the control yoke for the kit. I ended up cutting it and modifying it heavily, but technically it's a kit part as well.
Now, are you posting updates on your Fighting Joe's Facebook page?
I'm posting, quite honestly, very vague things on there because I've been talking to a magazine and they are interested in this, and I don't want to lose that. So I don't want to show too much.
Okay. But once it's done, I mean, I posted the link to your Facebook page. So
I see that. Yeah, thank you.
So people can go over there when you're ready to show it, and you'll be able to show your progress pictures of it, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
the finished product, right?
Yes.
If anybody's got it, like look, I'm going to tell you now, guys. The man is meticulous about doing stuff like this, you know. So if you guys you've got a question or stuff, he's got all kinds of resources, man. I mean, literally, you know, all the schematics of these things. So he's trying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here. I purchased this last summer.
Okay. The Spitfire.
Okay.
No.
That is, I mean, well, shoot. There.
Yeah. Look at that.
All the drawings I could possibly want.
Uh-huh.
Where lines start, where they end up, you know, everything you think of.
Now on that spit, Joe, are you trying to stay as true to the schematics as you possibly can?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not doing both wings, like say the wings. You're not doing both wings like you just have one cutaway, so you can see what it would look like, right?
Right. And I've actually already cut the wing, and I've got the frames roughed. I did that the last time around.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, it's going to be a while before I get to them, but yeah, it's going to have everything like what this is, you know, every pipe is going to have an origin and destination. Every electrical wire is going to have an origin and destination, and they're going to be as close as I can make it.
Cool. Now, Mick, are you posting on your page? Because you're doing that as a beta test. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm beta testing Scale Deck's deck for it. Although I'm a little behind schedule, the deck's already on the market, but due to the repeated delays, I just literally got it the other day. So
now, Mick, Mike is asking a serious question, but then there's a joke behind it there too. How are you finding?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, how are you in a Chinese? He wants it in a Chinese accent if possible. How are you finding the Titanic kit so far?
As far as I've gone into it, it's everything's fitting okay. But I mean, so far all I've done is chiseled off a bunch of the molded on detail that's going to be replaced with photo etch. So haven't really gotten into the actual bones of the build yet. But so far everything's looking nice. I like the quality of the plastic. It's nice and easy to cut, but not too soft.
Cool. Now, Josh is asking, Joe, what is the best source to find info for the builds that you use?
To be honest, I start with just finding a cutaway drawing with the description of what parts are. It's just that simple. And then you go from there and you can Google search. You can find an awful lot of stuff Google searching. For my aircraft, I actually am a member of a site called Avia Logs, AVIA Logs.
Uh-huh.
And they have, well, for someone like me, it's porn. You can find every schematic, every repair manual, everything. that you want. I've also been lucky enough to hook up with, there are 4 restoration groups that I'm working with. They've helped an awful lot. And sometimes you just get lucky, like with that book. I didn't know what to expect out of that. I bought it for $10 off of Amazon. It's a $160 book that was printed in 1943 by the RAF.
Yeah, but it's got all the resources inside that book that you need for that.
Oh yeah. And once you start finding out what the actual names are of the parts, that opens up another entire search that you can do. I can't tell you how many times that I've just punched in the number or designation of the part and come up with, God, everything. I mean, I'm gonna pick on Brian a little bit. He said that the fuel tanks is kind of disappointed they're not cutaways. I have in my collection right now at least 15 pictures of those fuel tanks being put together from scratch. I mean,
in the factory.
Well, it's a restoration, but they built it to factory specs.
Okay.
But I mean, there you go.
Yeah, but how much cutaway can you really do on a small plane like that before you start, you get to the point where it's, overwhelming?
It depends on what you're doing. The engine here, like I said, there's 75 to 80% of what's on the actual thing is in that engine.
Okay.
And they go to, there is a destination for every tube, every wire, all the stuff. There's an origination point for everything.
Uh-huh.
I only did what I did because there's some stuff on there that, is it there? Yeah, but putting it on here is going to be so cluttered that it'll take it away.
Yeah. Gotcha. So now, Gary, I want to talk about your painting, bro. Now, how did you build models first before you started painting figures, or how did that come about?
When I was a boy, my granddad was in the RAF during the Second World War. He was a mechanic. And I basically used to paint models with my cousins. And he used to stick by us and tell us all the faults. Oh, that one had a leaky whatever, or that one, he used to list. And he used to go for a whole load of mechanical faults with every plane that we painted. And then I hit teen years, found girls, booze, the normal things that most young lads do. And it wasn't until 2016 my wife became ill. And my old man, he saw my head was in a bad place, and he just came in one day with the Revel HMS Victory. It was a complete kit, and he just stuck it down in front of me, and I spent 8-9 hours or so. I didn't talk to anyone, I didn't do it, I just sat there and I built, and it just refired a love in something that I put down long ago. And since then I've been back at it. But I don't generally, like Joe, he loves the building side of it. For him, that's what flicks his switches. For me, it's the art of painting a model that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
I started out on the Victory. I tried a bit of Warhammer. I like Warhammer. That's fun, but it's not quite all there for me. And then I found figures and the garage scene, and I really liked what people were doing. People like Joe Bailey and some of these small-time artists. They were doing some really nice quality work, and I just fell into love with bringing them to life.
Yeah,
my idea.
Yeah, those Predators you did were nice, man. Really fucking nice.
Yeah, they were Nareen. I love his work. Absolutely love his work. But at the moment, he's very heavy on the Predators. That's 99% of what comes out of Nareen Studios at the moment is Predator-based. And it's nice, but you can only paint a Predator for so long before you think, you know what, I need to do something else. But they were fun. They were the Three Musketeers by Nareen Studios. They were way fun. But,
now, what do you guys think about? Okay, we all use an airbrush, all of us here. So, and paintbrushes. But what do you guys What's your preferred method? I mean, you guys, let me know. What would you guys do? You guys like using an airbrush, and if so, what airbrush do you use? Joe.
I prefer airbrush for a lot of things because to me it's just a nice smoother finish.
Mhm.
But I mean, like when I get to the exterior of this aircraft, I'm going to have 12 to 15 layers, and I'll be able to do my fading. I'll be able to start weathering. I'll be able to do all the stuff that would be very difficult to do for me with a regular brush.
Mick?
You got me just as I was taking a drink. Yeah, I tend to do a lot of airbrush work where I can. It's one of the only ways you're going to get a smooth paint job on a ship, unless you want to get really anal retentive about your brush work.
But you use a lot of Tamiya though. You don't use a lot of Vallejo and stuff. Most of the stuff.
No, I use mostly Tamiya's acrylics when I can. I occasionally have a little bit of testers enamels in there for some colors, just because there's some colors I can't get.
What are you cutting your enamels? What are you cutting your enamels with?
My enamels I cut with white spirits.
Okay. And you shoot that? You're shooting it to an airbrush.
Yeah.
Now what airbrush?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of airbrush?
Well, I use my main workhorse has and always will be my Patch BL, and then for detail work I've got the Badger Renegade Chrome.
Okay. How you like that so far?
Oh, it's a nice shooting piece.
Yeah. Gary?
I would say probably 50-50. I'm still learning to use the airbrushes. I've got an Extreme Patriot and a Sotar 2020. I'm still trying to push myself in using airbrushes more. There's things you can do with an airbrush that, as much as I love brushes, and I've got Raphael's and other brushes, that you can get a better blending. I mean, unless you want to go oils, airbrushes you can get a blend and a fade that you just won't achieve with a paintbrush. So 50-50. I do a lot of my priming and my base works with an airbrush, and then I tend to work into using my brushes, my Raphael's, and I just bought these.
I want to ask you about those. Those are, what is it? SIGs? What's the name of that? Artisan?
Yeah, Artis Opus.
How are those?
They're good. I mean, I come off the back of using things like the Broken Toads, which are exceptionally good brushes, although that's the Mark IIs, not the new Mark IIIs, and the Raphael's. And I like the Raphael's, and I love the Broken Toads. These are good, and the more I use them, the more I'm falling in love with them. But at the same hand, are they on par with the Raphael's or the Broken Toads? I would still say Broken Toes and Raphael's, for me, just slightly pip these. I find a lot more loose hairs come out with these so far. It could just be where they're bedding in, but I've never had that problem with, say, Broken Toad or Raphael's. The Raphael's I've never had problems with. They don't leak hairs. They always do what I want them to do. The Broken Toes can occasionally leak a hair here and there. But these seem to have done it from the get-go. And, I'm still persevering with them, still using them, because at the end of the day, some brushes have a wearing time.
Yeah.
But,
I've heard that on Instagram, people are talking about them, and I heard that they leak hairs more than, a lot of them. See, like with me, I would say 70% of what I do is with an airbrush. And then I'll come in with a paintbrush,
Yeah.
eventually you're gonna have to use a paintbrush,
I think to get away with just using an airbrush, doing what me and you do, which is both of us enjoy the painting side of it, really. You can't. You'd have to be exceptional. I mean, freaking out there to do a whole model from beginning to end with an airbrush. And I don't even know if it's truly. I mean, when you're talking about something like eyes or a mouth or teeth, how the hell do you do that with an airbrush? You need your brush.
I know. Yeah, I know one guy that I saw do, but it was a big bust, and 95% of that was done with an airbrush, and he was just phenomenal. I mean, but he still ended up having to go in with a paintbrush. I don't know too many people that can airbrush something like, or that can take an airbrush and do something like this and get those eyes done in there, you know. And
you'd have to be next level.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that I've never met one. I'm sure they're probably out there, but I personally have never met anyone that could do that. And I know a lot of painters, man. You know.
I mean, the more I use the Sotar, the more I'm pushing myself and learning to do more with it. And it has a massive potential. I mean, like you said, you're at 70% airbrush. I'm probably at 50 at a push. Some models, maybe even less than that. But I try to force myself to do more and more with the airbrush because it does have a massive impact on a model.
Yeah, I'm forcing myself more and more to try to use a paintbrush. You know, because I know how to work an airbrush. You know, so you know, I was having problems. You know, in the beginning, and I used to use a brush many years ago, and you know, it's like you forget how to use them. You know. And then you get these acrylics and like, you know, and the blending of them, the thinning of them and all this other stuff. If you don't lay that down right with a brush, you end up with brush strokes, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm getting to the point now where there are none, you know, but it's not something that I was able to grab right away. You know, like with an airbrush, I go in there and you got a smooth finish.
Yeah.
With a paintbrush, you go in there and you gotta be very. If you want a smooth finish, you just can't go in once and then it'll be a smooth finish. You go this way. You got to blend those.
And it's not with a brush. I find it difficult to get the blending. That, like for instance, when you use oils, you can use a brush to blend, and it happens so easy. If you try to do that with acrylic, you'll never achieve it. You need the airbrush because with the airbrush, you can get that. It's not as good as oils, but you can get that blending going on easier with an airbrush.
That you find that about right, Joe?
Yeah, when I did that figure for the figure contest, the only airbrushing I did on that was the base coat primer. Everything else was by brush, and I mean, I was using acrylics, I was using oils, I was using a little bit of enamels. The blending, granted, not nearly as good as someone who works with figures all the time, but you can blend with those. My preferred is the airbrush because, quite frankly, it just looks, I guess, more professional is the best way to put it. You know.
Yeah. I neglected to post this when we were talking to Gary. Gary's got he's got also a Facebook page, and I just posted it there. It's Mayhem Models. There's the link, guys. Click those links. Follow these cats, man. You know, they do some great work. Now, Gary, you got you post all the photos of all your stuff on there, right?
Yeah, I find it easier to stick it on the page and then share it out.
Just share it out, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I've got billions of followers or anything like that. I just find it easier because there's a few groups, you know, the Red Dragon Model Works, Starring Syndicate. I find it easier to do one and then just share it out from that way rather than having to do one post on one page, one post on another group. I find it easier just to share out that way.
I wanted to revisit this thing about the tank, Joe. Well, we were talking earlier. Something you said, you know, it described exactly what I was feeling when I was painting that thing. I just got burnt out with it. You know, I mean, it's a beautiful. Well, to begin with, we all knew there was problems with that tank. You know, the rear sprockets, I think they just didn't line up, and you had to do a little whatever to do it, and that kind of like threw me off. And then
the engine compartment,
all that kind of
yeah.
like pissed me. And then those I think they're exhaust lines or fuel lines that came around. They're so fiddly that if you breathe on them, you snap them. So I have to go back now and use lead wire to redo those. You know,
right?
They broke. You know, sitting right here, they broke. You know, so I need to redo all that. And all that little fiddly shit is what really just, you know, I bought the aftermarket tracks for it, you know, did all that.
Yep.
I was gung-ho on it because for those of you watching that don't know, the three of us, Gary wasn't involved in this one. He probably told us to go fuck off. But, Joe and myself, we all had a similar tank, you know, Mong, and it was King Tiger. And, you know, we were going to do a cutaway. Joe finished his. Nick ended up cutting his hand off. You know, he's only got 2 fingers left now. But you know, I mean, I'm the only one that didn't finish it. And I think, Gary, you looked at it and said, fuck you, I'm not doing it. You know? after you bought it, right? You're like, fuck that. That's it. I'm not getting into that.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a great kit, but it burnt me out, man. I mean, does that happen to you guys? I mean, Nick, Gary, when you're doing something like that?
Yeah.
There it is. I was just about to ask. I want to get to that, Gary, in a minute. Go ahead, Nick.
That Lancaster did it to me pretty bad. It's still sitting over there without any paint on it. I can't bother to be touching it right now.
Joe, does that happen like with because you do some really intricate stuff there, man? Does that happen with you?
Look at the current project. I was over a year into it and scrapped everything that I had done and started over again. You know, for me, it comes from, okay, I bought that book. I got on a couple of websites and found manuals for the Merlin, and it's like, yeah, what I've got doesn't make it. It doesn't look right. You know, I was missing some major things, and I finally got to the point where I said, you know, I don't want to work on it like this, and I stripped everything off and started over again.
Yeah. Look, Gary, that plane you got there, I remember you getting that, man. That thing just burnt you. Let's see it again. That thing just said, nope, I'm done with it.
He's got, so I mean, that was the cockpit. I don't even see the cockpit, but I mean, I'm not on Joe's level. Joe's next level, but it got to the point where it's so much gluing together and sticking together, and I just, in the end, I was like, you know what, sod it, that can go on the do later shelf. So every time I get a little urge to build something, I go back to it. But absolute nightmare, and it is such a big build. I mean, it's up there with some of the most complex ones. It's just so much to it.
Well, I know all about the do later build shelf.
Yeah.
The other room there, I've got a Yamato, Space Battleship Yamato. For 6.5 years in primer, and then I got all the parts in a little bowl. What's up, buddy? I'm talking. I'll be with you in a minute. Go upstairs. Sorry about that. The grandson like, "Hey, Grandpa, my time."
Well, I got mine as well.
I'll be here in a minute. But yeah, it's been sitting back there, and there's a few other things back there that I mean, I've got some Warhammer stuff back there, some big pieces that, you know, you build them up, you're all excited, and then with me, you know, I see something else and poof, I'm gone, and I forget all about them. And
I vaguely remember something about what was it, a Tidarian shuttle?
That took a while for me to remember that. Yeah. That thing was a dog of a kit, a beautiful kit, but well, Jesus, that was made in what, the 80s? That Tidarium shuttle, and when I opened the box, I mean, I remember building one back in the 80s, and there's a whole story about that. That's why I love that damn thing. But when I opened up this one quite a few years ago, the two halves were warped. And that is real thick plastic. And everything I did to try to, I wasn't, as accomplished a modeler at the time. So I'm doing everything I can, like heating it, boiling it, water, trying to get it to come down, and then clamping it. And I just couldn't get that damn seam to come down, man. Just couldn't get it, that on the sides. I ended up clamping that thing. Ended up having to put a sheet of styrene in there and sanding all that down so it's smooth, But man, that took me a long time to figure that damn thing out. And then the wings, there's, if you look at the studio model, there's all kinds of piping and stuff in there,
right?
In between the two wings. So I thought it would be a good idea to put that all in there. Whoa, that was I did all that. Then the interior, I've got before I glued that all in, the part where Darth Vader sits, you got the cockpit, and then you got the back interior. I ended up putting benches in there and all kinds of.
Yep.
But you can't see any of it, because I didn't light it up.
There's a solution for that.
Well, I've got another one. Because the intention was to look. Fuck you, Mike.
Yeah. I wonder when you're going to say that.
Gil started the Tidarium shuttle when the Return of the Jedi was out and finished it in episode 3. Fuck you, Mike.
Let me say, you guys have been very kind. I build. Everybody says it. I build for me. But it's not that I'm building these things for my pleasure. I don't care what anybody else thinks, nothing like that. I build for me because I enjoy the challenge. This is a challenge to get an engine where it looks right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a challenge to get those lines where they match up to what they're supposed to. My goal in some of this stuff is to get people, the restoration people, to get them to where they look at it and say, holy crap, which one did you work on? And I've had a few people do that to me. Cutaways are they're not an easy project, but cutaways are not. The most difficult part of a cutaway is the commitment to do it. I've told you this. I've told everybody else this that I've talked about. Yeah. The hardest thing to do on a cutaway is that very first cut.
Yeah.
Because if you make that cut, you are committed. You have to follow through.
Yeah.
There is one thing I would say that is harder than that, though, and that's talking Gil into doing it.
Well,
fuck you.
With Gil,
man.
It's kind of fun with Gil. Every now and then you get the nice comments back and stuff. So, but I've told guys, how many times have you heard me say it? Anyone can do this type of thing. Anyone, and most would do it a lot better because most are better at the painting. Most are better with the finishing of it.
I'm sorry, Joe, but at the end of the day, I don't think I could do the level of work you did on that engine. That is top shelf.
But it's something that anyone can do. It just takes that commitment that once you
run down that rabbit hole.
Once you start down that rabbit hole, there is no turning back.
Yeah.
Well,
that would be the same like with the ships and stuff, Nick.
I
mean, because I know, like with that Bismarck, there's what, 2 different versions of that. You got the splinter camo, and then you had the regular camo, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I just did my camo based on a particular time period. I wanted to simplify things, so I didn't go with the Baltic camo. I went for just before they left, when they hadn't tried to paint the turret tops yet. but they'd already painted out the Baltic stripes.
Now, I don't remember. Did it have the Swazi on there before that?
Yeah, that was actually a feature of the deck that I was beta testing, is you could order it with or without the swastika.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that was two separate decks available. The deck I'm beta testing now for the Titanic comes with two complete decks. One for if you want to build out of the box, or one for if you want to do all the photo etch and add-on extras.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Gary, I know as a painter, I would say the same thing. What Joe was saying about once you're committed to something, like with those predators you did, you get committed to a certain and because the size of them, it's a pain in the ass to strip them. If you screw up, right?
And especially with something like armpits. People don't think about it when they paint, but they stick the arms on and then suddenly realise you've got to paint under arms. So once you've got bits together and you've painted it and you've glued the arms on, you're committed really to the body tone the second you've glued arms on, because you've got fucking armpits to try and get under and everything else. But yeah, I mean, it's like anything. The second you start, you're on a path. You can change sometimes, but I would say it's easier to change when you're painting than it is when you're doing something like what Joe does.
Yeah.
Once you commit to a cutaway, that's it. You've got to follow that rabbit hole all the way down. With painting, you can stop and say, well, hang on a sec, this looks crap. But stripping a model ain't fun. I mean, you know yourself.
Yeah.
It's a mammoth effort.
Well, like with the cutting, I mean, you have to sit there and torture yourself on how you're going to do it to begin with. Am I correct, Joe?
Yeah. What detail are you going to show? What warrants being shown? Because you're going to have some stuff that, okay, I've cut this section up. What's there? What warranted me doing that?
No one wants to see an empty cargo hold.
Right.
Yeah.
No one wants to see that space where all it is just the framing. Nobody wants to see that. What they want to see is, where's the radio? Where's the engine? Firewall? Where's in the wing? How do the landing gear sit in there? All that stuff. How do the tubing go through the wing to get to the landing gear? For this one, it's how do those lines go through to get to the cannons, to get to the 30 cals? How do you do? How does that work? How do the flaps work? And it's an illusion. Everything's an illusion.
Well, a few of your stuff has made it in the magazines because of that reason. Because it's in the detail.
I've been extremely lucky. I've had some things published, and of the things published, I think only one was not a cutaway.
I'm surprised that Mick hasn't taken better photos of that damn Bismarck, man. That thing should be in a magazine.
Yeah, I fully agree.
It won't be now. I need to do some repairs on it.
You took it out and you were floating in it, weren't you?
Yeah,
I grabbed hold of it. I grabbed hold of it the wrong way one day, and certain things need to be straightened out that were inadvertently bent. Put it that way.
Now, Gary, with the little ones there, how do you keep your stuff from getting damaged and stuff?
With grave freaking difficulty. I have a glass cabinet which has a lot of my work in. Mike, shut up. I know what you're thinking. I do have shelves. They're not the shelves of doom. They're just shelves. But some of my models don't fit on them because, like, for instance, I did a very nice piece by MI3D Creations, which is a samurai, skeleton samurai. But it's so goddamn big, I can't get it in my glass cabinet. I can't put it on top because that's where my predators are. Trying to locate it, so it's up on the shelf. And I can't remember what happened. I think I called it my shelf of things to do, or doom or something. And that was it. He saw his model up there and he never let me fucking live it down. But it's not up there because it's rubbish. It's just I've got no freaking space for it.
Well, you ended up the 1/6 scale.
So difficult. I mean,
right? You did the 1/6 scale.
yeah. I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's a big old boy, but the problem is, and Mike will have a go at me, but it is up here, but only because I don't want my goddamn kids to touch it.
Yeah, that came out nice.
It's too nice to let my kids near it, and I've got models like this one up here, which I got RP models. My boy knocked it, it fell off and shattered the nose. So I mean, it needs massive amount of work doing to that, and I've got a couple of models up there, which my kids have oopsied. So now I live in a situation where I have to be careful. Generally, they're pretty good now. I mean, the youngest is probably the worst. He's 5, and he don't quite get it. I mean, for ages there was a part missing to this. I think it's this one, and I spent ages looking for it. And by pure accident, I looked under my sofa because I dropped a lighter back when I smoked, and I found a bloody arm to it underneath the sofa, which is like 8 foot away. So I knew it wasn't me that took it over there. So
right.
Now he's pretty good. He knows he doesn't touch Daddy's desk, and he's pretty good. But with difficulty, up on shelves is the safest bet. They can't touch him.
Right.
Glass display cabinets.
Joe, where do you like? I know Mick, you got limited space, so where the hell do you put them goddamn ships, man?
In the box.
After you built them?
Oh no! After that, they just sort of sit there and take up space, and it gives the spiders someplace to hang out.
Yeah.
Joe, where do you display your stuff at when you're done with them?
I usually give them away. I've got pieces all over the county, and some I believe that are like over by Seattle and that because people have moved.
I am.
Yeah, I painted a lot of Titans at one time, and I've only got 4 of them. But yeah, I did the same thing. I mean, you sell them off. You know, I mean, there's a few of them here that have stayed with me for one reason or the other. But most of the stuff, like the figures, if like the dragons or if Mama takes a liking to a figure, it goes upstairs. It doesn't stay down there. She'll tell me right away, that's mine. I'm like, okay.
But you see, I'm out in the middle, out in sticks. I mean, our town is 6,000 people. Our county is probably 50,000 people, maybe. You know, it's one of those things that selling them really isn't an option because, you know, how do you put a price on that?
I know. I've crossed that path a couple of times. I've been tempted to say, well, maybe I'll move a couple of the bits that aren't my favourites. I'll stick them on eBay. And I think, you know what? I had one bad experience where I tried to sell a Titan on there, and they just mug you off. People just want the best deal they can get. They knock you down. And in the end, I thought, you know what, sod you.
Well, we were talking about that before I get to that, because I want to get to that real quick. Mick, you see what Mike says? With your ships, you make bongs out of them.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I mean, polystyrene's not real heat resistant, dude. There are much better things to make a bong out of. Trust me. I know.
mean, we were talking about that before we got live about the Titans, for instance. I mean, there was a time where you can make good money, you know, painting those. But now, if you look on eBay, look, those things aren't cheap. You know, anywhere from $100 to $130, and I've seen them even more than that for the kit, just the kit alone. Then you got to put that together. Now, Games Workshop makes some nice stuff, but sometimes the fit isn't the greatest, so you got to do a little work to them. Then you got to paint them. Then you got to base them. And I see them on eBay being sold for $200. It's like, wait a minute, you paid $130 for the kit. Then you did all the work to put it together, to put a nice base, to paint them, and you're only asking $70 for your work?
Because, I mean, my gut probably says that they're banging that crap out in 2 days, which you know as well as I do. If they're doing a model in 2 days, that ain't going to be top shelf work. That's going to be bog standard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if people want to pay 70 quid on top and, you know, end up with crap, then fair dues. But I would never let anything leave my house that I wasn't 100% happy with, and that could say I'm proud of that, because that's what I would want if I was ever going to be selling stuff. I want stuff that people are going to go, dang, not, yeah, and that's what 70 quid gets you. 70 quid gets you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to pay $300-400 more, that gets you the work that you're going to go, whoa, and everyone's going to look at. But people don't want that. People want it as cheap as they can, but they want it as best as they can.
Right, exactly. Now, Gary, are you going to host your hangout later on today after this, or you taking a day off?
No,
So right after this, guys, I'll post a link for the Styrene Syndicate. Gary hosts a hangout. You know, you guys can come in and just hang out and stuff. You know, so I'll post the link to the syndicate if you guys want to check that out. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Now, come join us in the hangout, have fun, chill out, do a bit of modelling, take the piss out of Mike a little, because he's going to get it tonight. You know, mentioning my shelf done. But yeah, have fun, guys.
Don't stress about it. Just build a model.
Enjoy yourself. It's all about the fun. If you lose the fun, it's not a hobby.
Yeah, later on in future shows that when we got, when the four of us together, I want to get into all that about the Smithsonian people and building for your own and different types of paints and what.
I'm a rivet counter and I fully claim it. I've got a card in my wallet.
Yeah, but you rivet counting on your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a difference. I mean, I understand that rivet count. When I see something like this Bradley I'm doing, I'm rivet counting the shit out of this stuff, But that's because I have to present that to someone, So I get that. Brian says, "What time's the hangout?" God damn it! This is right after this. Damn you. But yeah, no, I want to get into that because there's I've noticed in a few things there, man. People are if you ask for an opinion, like especially in Styrene Syndicate, Red Dragon Modelers, if you ask someone, if you post something, and say, "Give me some, what do you guys think?" Now you just open the door.
See,
I always feel there's a sorry, Joe, carry on.
Oh, you're good.
I always feel sorry.
Gary, I'm sorry I keep talking over you, man.
No, it's cool.
Go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
I always feel that there's a difference between giving someone quality advice and someone just being a nitpicking bitch.
Yeah, taking the piss out. Yep.
At the end of the day, what I like about the Syndicate and Red Dragon Model Works was the day I joined it, I was a newbie, and I still am a newbie. I still consider myself a newbie, but no one ever made me feel that my work wasn't good enough for me to put work on the Syndicate. And it's one of my pet peeves. People join the group and they don't post any of their work. Post it. Post your work. No one's going to rip into you about it. We want to see what you're doing. We want to see your enjoyment in the hobby. That's why I post my work. Not because I think I'm the greatest or because I think I'm in the same league as anyone else, but because I want to express my joy in my hobby. And I love the fact that everyone in the Syndicate that does post has that love for it. And I just don't see the point in people tearing someone down to make themselves feel better. Exactly. That isn't critiquing. That isn't giving someone advice. That's just you tearing the shit out of someone because you think your fucking shit don't smell.
Yep. Joe, what do you got to say about that?
Well, you guys see my posts, and it's been the same for years. All comments, critiques, and criticism are requested. And yet I get very little as far as feedback. Mm-hmm. I've had this conversation with a couple people, and I've been told things like, well, your work is so unique that nobody knows how to comment on it. Or we don't want to hurt your feelings because of whatever. I put it out there because my end goal for many of my pieces is I want to get it into a magazine. I want to do that. I am desperate to improve on what I'm doing to make it look better. Mm-hmm. And, do I push that off on other people? No, not at all. If you ask me, on a subject I know, and you ask me specifics, please pull up your pants, tie down your shoes, tighten your belt, because I'm going to give you exactly what I know.
Yeah. Now, Mick, what do you say about that? What do you got to say about that?
I've always been of the opinion that if you're not paying for my models, you don't have a say in how I present them. I build what I want to do. Quite often, it's fairly historically accurate. Quite often, it is not. There's probably still a room full of Trekkies that are mad at me for the hot pink Klingon bird of prey. But at the same time, that's why Dave and I always joked about doing that, was, as we used to call it, to piss off the rivet counters.
Yeah. I get that with when I paint. When I paint, I mean, you guys know my process. I mean, it's I paint for the way I see things. You know, I'm not trying to go win a golden eagle or what is it, the crystal brush and all that. I'm just painting. You know, and I do. You know, I've had people come to me and say, "Hey, if you do this a little bit," you know, people I respect, you know, painters. Hey, yo, if you did this and you did this, and I incorporate that. I'll give you a perfect example. James Mappel. He's been a big influence on me, you know, as far as
that guy's top shelf.
Lynn Stahl, you know, people like that. You know, there's quite a few others, but you know, if someone asks me, you know, what do you think of this? Like, what do you think of it? Like with Joe, what do you think of this plane? I don't know enough about the plane. I know what I'm seeing though, and what I'm seeing is pretty fucking cool. You know, so I'm like, it looks great to me, but I don't have the knowledge of where everything goes and what color that plane was and this make a plane and this. I don't have that to comment on. Cars, if somebody will ask me, hey, what do you think of this finish? How you're going to get it? Because if I see orange peel, I'm going to tell you there's orange peel on it. You know, now we're talking as far as a painter's concerned, but when you're talking tanks and planes, what do you think of this? Dude, I don't know. It's not what I do, but I like what I see, you know. Or if the painting is shit, I'll tell you, well, you know, you could have weathered that up a little bit more, you know, did this or whatever, you know. But as far as like what you do, Joe, I can't comment on it because I don't know enough about it, you know.
Right, you know, but and I should qualify that because I have searched out groups that either had people with the reputation or the group itself had the reputation that they will tear your stuff apart. They will rip it. They will, you know, do it almost to the point where the builder cries.
Uh-huh.
And I get very few comments. Very few.
Yeah, that's odd to me, you know.
You know,
odd, you know. But
I get it. You know, I'm doing something that there's not many people in the world do this.
uh-huh.
You know, I if I remember right, there's, as far as armor builders, there's probably 20 or 30 armor builders in the world that do cutaways. There's probably 10 or 15 that do aircraft. Of those, there's probably only 2, 3, maybe 4 of them of the armor builders that scratch build their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 3 in aircraft.
Yeah.
And one of those guys does, I'm sorry, there's 4. 2 of them, they don't use a kit. They scratch build everything themselves. The other one does either casting, resin casting, or 3D printing to get a lot of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing that. That is a fantastic idea. I wish I had that opportunity. But, you know, that boils it down. When you start thinking about that stuff, that boils it down. Gil, you in your painting, you were in a major competition and you entered it because you were requested by your wife to enter it, and you got
request.
a place.
She told him.
Yeah.
You got a place. That tells me something. You know, how many people in the world get some kind of recognition at that show? You
Not
know,
many. Not many.
that tells me something.
Yeah. I was really proud of that.
You know, Mick, how many people in the world do the things that Mick does with ships?
Quite a few, actually.
Really?
I've got my heroes. I've got my heroes too. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah. How many people in the world really do that? Gary, again, with your figures, how many people in the world have done those predators where they look like what it is in the movie?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there is a couple of guys I know personally. They're massive. But generally, not tons. No, I mean, some of them go off on their own and do them the way they want to do them. But there is a couple of guys that I personally, when I was doing my predators, took a lot of time to look at their work because they were top shelf. And they gave me ideas. It's like when I looked at one of them, David, he had cut out the eyes on the mask and he had put mesh in behind it. And I saw another guy, he'd put resin, clear resin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To give the glass effect. Well, I like both the ideas. So I've done both of them. I put the mesh behind, I put tape on, and then I put resin over the top and then took the tape off the back so that you could see through and see the mesh, but with the glass effect on it. So there's people that I mean, I don't see a problem with, getting inspiration from other people's work.
Oh, no, yeah.
Well, no, that's not. My point is, out of everyone who sets foot on this globe, figure what? 1 or 2 out of every 100 build models. And out of that group itself, only what? 2 or 3, maybe.
I mean, you have your competition builders. When it comes to figure painting, you have people like me that just get an enjoyment out of it. I've never entered a competition. I'm not really thought about ever entering. And then you get competition builders. They won't tell you how they do what they do. They won't show you how they do what they do. They just do what they do and enter competitions. And that's all they're interested in. They don't want to share skills or anything. And then you get other people like Gil, who's extremely talented and wants to share what he knows with other people. Me personally, I'm at the lower end of the scale. I've been doing this far less than time than other people. I mean, there's people like Gil and Pete and Dave and many others that I've seen their work, and it just blows my freaking mind. And I spend time reversing what they're trying to reverse what they're doing. And then there's people like Gil that show you how they. I mean, my metalwork pre-Gil was just spray silver, but Gil took the time to show on the syndicate, this is what I do. I tried it, liked it, and that's what I like. That's the side of the hobby I enjoy. The people that want to share their knowledge with others. This is such a small community globally. It's such a small community. Okay, people want to be competition builders, fine, go for it. But I enjoy the time, and I enjoy people like Orc Paint Nerd, Gil with Red Dragon Model Works on YouTube. They've taken their time. Their enjoyment, a lot of their enjoyment is showing what, they're not saying theirs is the only way. They're not saying theirs is the best way. They're just showing what they do. And that is, for me, not where I want to be, but it's what I enjoy in the hobby. I enjoy seeing other people's work and working out how to do it and copying and emulating. That's for me.
We right here. Now, it's not exclusive, but we four are part of a group that is only a fraction of the scale modeling community.
Oh, yeah. Very, very small.
Because we show our work. We talk about our work. And we try to help others with whatever questions they have. By no means am I saying we're top tier except Gil, but we are part of an exclusive group.
I mean, that's probably maybe why I'm a little bit anti some of the other groups that aren't like that. It's not that I dislike those groups or anything. I just don't see the point in it. All they're doing is gloating about what they've done. There's no interaction other than, boom, this is what I've got. I always did like the fact that the Syndicate has always been a group that was there to support modelers of any level,
right?
Whether they were extremely flat out, God-given talent, raw brilliance, like James Warple.
Yeah.
When he posts something, everyone just fucking goggles.
Yeah.
Or whether there's someone that's, using a paintbrush, they don't know what an airbrush is, and I don't care. I've always liked the fact that Syndicate, it doesn't matter what level you're at, it's nice that people post. Yeah. It's nice that we can share. And if no one wants critiquing, that's fine. We're not a critiquing group, really, unless it's asked for.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, to me. And when I look at other groups that don't have that, I pity them. Yeah. And it's not,
That's the beauty of the group, and I love the way it sussed itself out, So, all right, gents, we've been going on for an hour and 15 minutes. Gary's got to do a hangout. I want to thank everybody that in the chat there, even the guys who were taking the piss out of us. I also, guys, take a minute to go through that chat. You have Tiny Admiral's modeling page there. You have Fighting Joe's Hobby Bench, his YouTube page there. And Gary's Mayhem Models. Guys, please, if you do the Facebook, go check those the links out that I put there. I also put the link to the Styrene Syndicate in there. If you guys want a part of that, I always forget to put Red Dragon Model Works, man.
And just to answer Black Rifle Model Works, if you like that and you're not a member of the Syndicate, join the Syndicate, because that's exactly what we're all about.
Yeah. So, again, I want to thank everybody for chilling with us. Next week, I got a guest here. I just got to suss out the time and everything with him, and then we got a couple other people coming down. You'll see more of this, with the guys here. So, I hope that it was enjoyable for you guys. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday or Saturday. It's probably Sunday over there. What time is it now by you there, Gary? 10 o'clock?
17 minutes past 10, yeah.
So let me let him go so you can do what his thing there. You guys, again, the Styrene Syndicate Facebook page is there. Gary's going to have a hangout. If you guys want to continue your conversation, you're a member of the Syndicate, even if you're not, you get asked to join in on our hangouts, man. Brothers, Mick, Joe, Gary, thank you very much, man. These guys are great moderators. You got any questions on those pages, they're more than happy to answer you guys. Thank you all for watching. You guys have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Peace.
And